Welcome back, everybody, back to the Headspace Podcast, episode 158. I am your host, Chris Chrome, and today I will be reviewing G Herbo's new project, PTSD. Again, that is G Herbo's new project, PTSD. For some of you who don't know, here at the Headspace Podcast, we go through album reviews. We check out new albums that drop every Friday. So today I'm recording this on Saturday, so I just came out yesterday. I bumped it yesterday, I bumped it this morning, and I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions and how I feel about it, break down some of the lyrics, and explain kind of what some of the songs mean or whatnot. Again, I'm not a professional. We're just kind of on this journey, me and the other people from behind that suit, Holden and Bonnie. We're also just kind of on this journey, really just trying to learn about hip-hop. Me and Holden and I also make music ourselves, so we also are kind of really inspired by the hip-hop culture, and we want to just figure out like where it comes from, what it does, and how we can be a part of it, as well as really giving praise and love to a lot of the artists and a lot of the people who are part of the culture. So that's kind of what we do here at the Headspace Review, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. If you want to skip all of the intro bit, you can definitely check down below. You'll see a timestamp of where all the songs start, and you can go to your favorite track if you want to. There is about 14 tracks on this project, so I will be cutting these videos into two parts. This part is going to have tracks 1 to 7, and part 2 will have 8 to 14. So with that, let's just kind of start in here. This is the part of the show where we like to just kind of give you a little bit of info on what we know about the artist, what we're used to them or whatnot, so that you kind of know where we're at, because some of you guys in the viewers and in the comments as well probably also know G Herbo a lot more than I do, so you'll understand a lot more of his references, his lifestyle, kind of what he says and kind of what he goes through a lot more than me. So please hit me up in the comments. Let me know what it is I may have missed or not interpreted properly, and definitely we can have a great conversation. I'll try my best. It's a good chance you'll be able to talk to me more on Twitter, right there, Chris Chrome 93. Let me know, hit me up, let me know what you thought about the album, or even just any questions or anything you want to inform me on. Again, this is a journey that we are on all together, and we really just appreciate so much what you guys do for the comments. My interpretation and from my knowledge on G Herbo is practically nothing. I did see him on the, what's his name, Vic Mensa's album, Hooligans. He did do a nice verse. I did enjoy it. I can't remember the song right now for the life of me, but I do know that G Herbo's really a good artist in the game. He's been making music, he's been making waves. I've heard his name before many times. I've just never really been interested in following up on his, like, any of his music or whatnot, just myself. My bad. But for this week, I don't know, there wasn't really many albums that came out. I didn't really see too many people. I heard Jadakiss was supposed to drop an album, but I didn't see anything there. I don't know if Party Next Door was supposed to. Now I found out as per this morning that it's supposed to be somewhere in March, so I'm very interested in that. I'll be definitely hitting that up. I did notice that Lil Baby dropped an album. I did check it out, and the reason why I'm bringing it up is because I know that there's like, I didn't really know who to pick at first. I didn't know if I should do G Herbo or if I should do Lil Baby. I prefer G Herbo a little bit more, just the beat selection, just the way he raps, the way he kind of went through everything, which I'll definitely get into. I felt was more just for me, my style, what I enjoy, but I'll give it up to Lil Baby. He has really good bars on there. He's got some really nice features on his project. Like, it was a good album. I didn't finish it. I only got about halfway through. But if you guys want me to check it out and review it, let me know down in the comments below. I'll definitely try to make time to review that and get you guys that video if you want it. But I just wanted to mention that because sometimes, when there's not a lot of projects coming out, I don't really know who to pick. I don't know. To be clear, it's like, yeah, okay, there might be like views or clicks involved or these ideas, but sometimes I just want to know, like, what do you guys really appreciate and what do you guys want to see us review and talk about, so that we can really kind of develop more of like a community on my front. Like, just for Chris Chrome, I just want to build more of a community with you guys and make sure that we're just kind of giving you guys what you want. With that that's pretty much what I know about G Herbo. So please let me know in the comments below if there's anything I've missed or whatnot. So to jump right in here, again, this is Headspace episode 158. I am your host, Chris Chrome, and I will be reviewing G Herbo's new project, PTSD. Now, to start off, I'm going to just go in with the album cover. I think it's actually really, really interesting and really, really cool. First off, it is February, right? So it is Black History Month. And I think that G Herbo's album cover really fits that narrative, first off. Also really kind of plays into just the whole culture and the history behind it. And I'm not trying to say that it's anything historical. If you look at it, it's just the American flag kind of bleeding and kind of torn apart, bullet holes through it. He's standing behind it holding the American flag, kind of representing that there's like tragedy and depth and darkness that's happening. But I noticed that there's faces instead of stars on the in the blue square where it kind of looks black. I don't really know if the faces are like famous historical people. I didn't really look into it that much, but it just strikes me as very interesting that would be the presentation that he chooses to use. So I thought it was really, really cool. I think it's kind of a little bit of a memorable photo. I think that if I come across it, I'll know exactly what I'm looking at and I'll remember who the artist is or whatnot. But it does have a very nice creativeness to it, and I do appreciate that a lot in terms of artistically and just what I guess they're trying to show. I really, really do like it. I like the color schemes. I like the shading of it. I like how the flag kind of looks rippled. I like how he kind of just fades out in the background. It's very nice. It's a very nice picture. I like how there's no writing on it. Like, it doesn't even say PTSD. It's just kind of there. And I think not having the album name on it sometimes really just speaks more words, because like the viewers or the listeners or the people or the fans can like interpret it differently. But I also think that, I guess that's just a creative decision. So whatever. I don't know anything about album covers, so I'm not going to continue on that. But I do think it's really dope. Moving on to the album name, PTSD, that is post-traumatic stress disorder, and it's caused by whatever is traumatic to people and how they kind of cope with certain problems and how they deal with that in moving on in life. And what that tells me is that we're going to get a lot of personal stories. We're going to get a lot of information from G Herbo, kind of letting us know why he's a little bit broken down. Maybe he's dealing with PTSD, and kind of an explanation of why there is this PTSD that he kind of sees and going on. I also think that there's going to be some talk about the environment, some talk about just the atmosphere around him that's going to cause, I guess he's trying to have like this bigger conversation with this title on like why there's such a big talk on PTSD and why like people are dealing with this. So I think that's really interesting as well. And that's, pretty much it about the album cover and that. Before I jump into it, and I should have done this a little bit earlier, but thank you so much to the Patreons: Ismail Gadamsi, Chris Prado, DJ Black, Hurricane, Jonathan Barnes, Coney Sparks, and Scribble, and Linda Williams. Thank you so much for everything you guys do. I will catch it back up at the end of the video. But again, they follow us on Patreon. They really support us. They really help us with kind of moving forward and stuff. But again, thank you so much for it. Now, let's just kind of jump right into this album review. The first track on this project is the intro. So right off the bat, we're coming into this project with this like cinematic feel for the intro, and I thought that was really, really cool. We've got some female vocals in the background that are really kind of developing the atmosphere of the album, really kind of bringing you into just what we're about to get. And it's starting to, and I feel like it was starting to take me out of like my home, as you can see here, my apartment. See the famous painting I always point at. I like that painting. Anyway, it started to bring me out of like my world and really into this new world of a lot of like just G Herbo's world, I would assume. And it's really, really cool. I like how there's like this build up in the intro of the song. I like how you can kind of hear like breathing, like I think it's G Herbo's breathing, kind of preparing himself for the verse, because as it goes in the instrumental takes place, the drums build up and then boom, he just comes right in, and it's not like anything soft or nothing. He just comes in slamming with facts and just giving us exactly this kind of description of who. I think he's talking about himself clearly, but it's like the idea of who G Herbo is, and we're gonna kind of get a little bit about his life. So there's one verse, he kind of just rips right through it. The song is about 3 minutes long, 3 minutes and 8 seconds, so it's not that long, but it's a really nice intro to give you that context of what we're gonna get and what we're gonna be receiving from this album. So it's really cool. He starts off and he goes, I do it for the haves and the have-nots. All he had was a half and a glass pot. Gotta race till he the first one with the last rock. Every day you see his face just like a mascot. Trapping out the Honda. No, he never had a stash box. Stuck to armed violence. That was the last spot. Now already, just like with the beginning of this verse, you're already getting this kind of dark, gruesome mentality. Violence is being surrounded by him, but it's kind of showing that this is something that he had to live. These are things he had to experience, he had to go through. It kind of seems like he was very young. The line where he goes, race till he the first with the one with the last rock, that's kind of a connection to selling crack. And it's an interesting mentality, the way he kind of brings it up, where it seems like he thinks that he has to be the last person or the first person to be selling this and the first person to run out, so that he can like re-up and then make more money. And it's like this grind, this hustle that you have to follow. But it's kind of sad to see like that it seems like he's a little bit forced in it. He follows through. And I say that he's kind of forced in it because he follows through with, I'm humble, but my city in a headlock and an uppercut. Don't talk about no millions or nothing because you ain't touch enough. My head race, I'm riding alone. Just my mind and this chrome. Used to live in all apartments. Now I'm riding to a home. Like already you kind of see that there's like this difference from where he was and where he is now. And just like kind of with that, knowing that his city was in a headlock and an uppercut, it's kind of giving you this visual that he feels trapped. He feels trapped in his city. He feels like there's no way really to get out at that time. And I can kind of picture like somebody just like locking in, like just the city like that, and kind of keeping you locked down and suppressed and even oppressed a little bit. It really feels like you can feel in his voice and in his anger, because he's really bringing this heavy energy to the track, and he's really like kind of solidifying what he represents and who he is. You can really feel that like pain that he's really bringing, and I'm gonna say that a lot throughout the album, because he really has this G Herbo is really able to present pain in a way that I really connected to a little bit, so that was cool. But yeah, no, see, like, just my mind, I'm riding alone, just my mind in this chrome. Used to live in all apartments, now I'm riding to a home. It's like the chrome represents the gun, and he was explaining that, like, he's trapped in his mind and he has to run around with his gun because, he feels paranoid, he feels scared from where he comes from and, like, just kind of what was around him. But at the same time, now it's like, I kind of get this illusion that he's still doing it, but now he's driving home to his own place. He's made money. He's kind of, in a better spot, but it's like still having to deal with that paranoia, that PTSD, that like anything could happen is really just insane. And it kind of follows through like that. He really just kind of breaks down what he kind of goes through and what he's been through and seeing like different things. There was something that I did enjoy that he kind of broke down nicely was Holmes got Holmes, which is like homie. So like Holmes got a different plan with 550 grams strapped with it in his hand, trapped just a ceiling fan, finger on the trigger, took a tap just to kill a man, push him to the limit, watch him snap like just any man. Now it's interesting because it's like he's expressing that, yeah, he may have had to do this, or his friend or somebody that he knows or somebody he's associated with may have had to like engage in armed violence, may have had to kill somebody or whatnot. But it's like the idea that he brings up with push him to the limit, watch him snap like any man. It's like we're being forced to do these things because of our conditions, because of where we're located or what we're dealing with, which is very interesting, because it's always this idea of like, we don't want to have to do this, but if you keep pushing us, we are going to snap. And it's like, everybody says like, I'm not a killer, but don't push me. And the idea behind that is like, everybody can snap one day and go crazy and lose their mind, or like, do something that is not appropriate or sinful. And it's, I guess, how much you can withstand before you break, which is what he's really trying to explain, which I can feel him, I can understand. And no, I don't come from that life, and I don't know what it feels like to be in that environment, but I have my certain things that I deal with and that I feel pressured and I feel forced that I have to do. And at one point you break and you break down, and you can really kind of feel that in his anger, and you can really feel like, this is why I'm making music. This is why I'm doing what I got to do, because I really feel like, I have no way out. And this was a really cool intro. I really thought it did great. I really enjoyed just the beat selection and how like the instrumentals kind of flow through, and how G Herbo really flows on this beat. And he's not really like a fast rapper, but he does have like different tricks and different little word plays that he uses that I really did enjoy. At one point he's like, we was supposed to get rich because we was meant for this. Now all we know is arithmetic, but everybody with the shits. I hope it ain't no incident, because everybody in some whips, and we'll trip, rip, clips, flip shit, dip, split, switch whips with the new tints like ain't shit happen. Like, just the way he plays with syllables is really cool. His writing ability is really, really nice. Now, this isn't like the most in-depth, hardest bars that we're getting, but this is really kind of more direct and straight to the point, which I do enjoy and I do appreciate. So I gave this track for the intro a 4 on 5. I thought it was a really great way to kind of start off the album and take you into the mind of where we're going to be getting at. And yeah, so 4 on 5. The next track is Glass in the Face featuring A Boogie with the Hoodie. So this track really follows suit with the intro, and I think it was a good placement. And I just want to say the placement on this album is really nice, and every song kind of connects in a very certain way and also kind of plays off the other. So with this track, we kind of get more of the same type of lyrical content in terms of like what he's done, what G Herbo's done, what he's gone through, and where he's from. But it's more of an in-depth look, and I feel like it's more of an in-depth look into like the mentality of people who live in this type of area, who are enforced in this environment, as well as also a little bit of a breakdown of his personal life and what we got. The beat's a little bit smoother, so I do like that. I like how the drums are still a little bit heavy, but I really like the piano on this track. It gives off this distorted piano key sound, and it's kind of like eerie, and it's keeping that type of like mysterious, nightmarish vibe, which I really did enjoy. I also really like how there's this type of kind of like description of like a struggle. Like you can really kind of feel the struggle that G Herbo went through, and the contrast between G Herbo and A Boogie with a Hoodie is really interesting, because G Herbo has got, like I said on the last one, he's got this more, or maybe I didn't. He's deep voiced. He's kind of angry. He's got this more like a rough aggressiveness to him. And then A Boogie with a Hoodie comes in on the chorus and just like changes it to more like this pop feely, but it really meshes nicely together. But it's still kind of playing these roles, which I do appreciate. So let's just kind of get into it. So the verse 1, G Herbo comes in right off and he goes, "Where I come from, homies greasy, you deceive me. I got rich. I motivate my homies like I'm Jeezy." Shout out to Young Jeezy. That is high respect. I appreciated Jeezy's last album. That was really good. And you know what? Like, it's dope. Like, it's dope how G Herbo kind of looks up to Young Jeezy like that. And it also, if you know a little bit about Jeezy, and the reason why I'm going on this tangent is because he really does give you this idea of like being a boss, strategic, moving forward, and like making sure you got what you need, and making sure you're always on like ahead of the game. And to see G Herbo really looking up at G-Eazy like that really shows a lot of respect, really shows like, you know, he's kind of following the right path. I'm not saying that what these guys have done is good or not. I'm not judging them, but like the path that G-Eazy does present is a successful path, and he does it in a way. If you go listen to his last album, and again, I can't think of it of the life of me right now, but if you go listen to his last album, there's a lot of like drug talk and stuff like that, but it's made in a way that is to kind of educate you on how to move in a business, move as a unit, and move as like a collective. So that was really cool. So knowing that G Herbo listens to Jeezy like that, it also shows how G Herbo kind of moves and how he walks. So that was really interesting. I can't leave the house, get caught up without my gun. I can leave the house, get caught up with my gun easy. Honestly, I know nobody but my son need me. I went broke to see you eat. I know you don't believe me. Just be patient with me, bae. I know you want to leave me. Took my heart from my sleeve, replaced it with some freezy. Knee deep in the trenches, toting 40 Glocks with DZ. Right away, like, you're already getting this kind of, still this consistent grimy little, this grimy explanation mentality, this idea of pain and anger, and that there's like violence that's happening. And I like how he goes, honestly, I know nobody but my son need me. Like, that kind of realization that only family needs you, his son being the most important thing in his life, that I would assume. He's kind of dumbing it down to, he's not dumbing it down, but he's kind of narrowing it down to just his son that needs him, and he's not really dealing with anybody else, which is powerful, like a powerful mentality to have. Like, you're just kind of solidifying yourself, secluding yourself, I wanted to say, from people. I went broke to see you eat. I know you don't believe me. And that's an interesting point to bring up, the way he's admitting his truth, right? And just how people, he's like, I know you don't believe me because of the amount of money he may make, or kind of how he lives his life, or he keeps up this image or whatnot. But it's like, you have to kind of believe him if he's telling you. And the fact that we don't, or the fact that, like, whoever he's talking to doesn't believe him, kind of strikes me as really interesting. Like, he can't even be truthful around the people around him. Just be patient with me, bae. I know you want to leave me. And I was quoting earlier, I was kind of thinking, like, it's true. When you're kind of living this life, whether in the streets or fame or whatnot, and dealing with PTSD and dealing with a lot of demons, it could really cause some real restraints on your relationships, and real difficulties on your relationship with your significant other or your partner. And it's interesting how he's really just being honest with people. And that's why I like this song a lot, because it kind of shows that G Herbo is not just trying to brag about what he been through. It's more of like an educative stance, where he wants people to realize, like, this is not a life that should be lived. This isn't something that we should have to go through. He goes on, and there's another part I like when he go and walking through the valley of the shadows, all these homies shallow. Walking through the valley of the shadows is a shout out to the shadows of death, I think, from Coolio, the song Walking Through the Valley of the Shadows of Death. It's a really good song, very inspirational and very meaningful to me, at least to the culture of hip hop. So that's really cool. Shows that G Herbo is really, like, going in and really knowledgeable about, like, music and what he knows, and really can do kind of these references that maybe some of the other rappers can't or whatnot. I like how he kind of calls out, solidifying more of his gangsterness, kind of calling out other rappers. You ain't really living like that, pussy. Why you lie for? Fuck it, eye for an eye. Sold the same shit I cry over. I die for. Make you famous. If we pull your name, something like a raffle, make you famous. How you trust her? Adam told her she gonna bite the apple. Now I chopped it up and I butchered it, so I do apologize. But I like what he's saying here. I like how he's saying, he's calling out people for not really living the life that they preach to live, which a lot of rappers do, and that's kind of like a big trend that I see happening. But he's solidifying it with more of, like, an eye for an eye. Sold that same shit I cry over. I die for. Make you famous. If we pull your name, something like a raffle. So he's kind of saying, like, he's done some shit that he's sold some shit that maybe he was precious to him, valuable. He's done some things that, you know, you can't really look back on. It's hard to move forward from. But he's also saying that if you want to go eye for an eye, and if you fuck around, like, if we pull your name out of we'll make you famous because we'll kill you, essentially. Like, that's what he's saying, is that we'll make you famous because we'll kill you. And then how you trust her, Adam told her she gonna bite the apple. So it's like, he's kind of implying that you can't really trust certain people because they're being told to do certain things from other people. I'm not really going after women or whatnot on this. I think this is something with G Herbo that he's saying, but I think that it implies just this is like a mentality, like, certain people are being told to do certain things, so you got to really watch your back. And he kind of still shows that paranoia, that what he's kind of go through. I really liked A Boogie on the hood, A Boogie with a hoodie. Again, I spoke about that contrast, how he really kind of fits in on the track and really kind of goes through. So I did enjoy that. But I feel like A Boogie kind of plays this role on the song where he's giving off this mentality that because we've gone through certain things that G Herbo has explained, this is kind of a result of now where they're at. So glass in the face, Rolex fucking up my eyesight. So he's got a Rolex. He's making money now. They're living lavish. I'll make your ass look away because it's so bright. Fuck it. If they put a bag on my head, I'll put a bag on your face. Okay, so what he's saying is that if you're going to put money on him as a hit or something like that to take him out, he'll make sure to kill you and get to you first, and put a bag on your face, kind of just like, close your eyes, you're dead, you're gone. Baby, you ain't got to take a cab now. I'll put your ass in a race. So he's kind of showing off that he's got more money. He can do that. He's kind of flaunting the fact that he's kind of balling. So that's cool. I don't want to go in the club if they ain't letting me in with the ratchet. Now a ratchet is, from what I understand, could be replaced for a gun. Now, it's interesting how, like, I don't think it's because they want to start violence. I think it's because they want to end violence and they want to be protected for themselves. And because, like, again, what G Herbo expresses in this song, it kind of makes sense that they want to feel that protection, that comfort, so they want their peace on them. So I do get that. I cannot be even charged again because I know homie's elastic. You know my jacket, Ballman. And I got the dame to match it. I swear I don't want to be broke again. Now I can only imagine. So you really see that they're trying to just be dedicated to working towards the money and working towards having a better life. And I think that it was really cool how they're really kind of connecting these ideas in terms of the different artists and in terms of just the mentalities that are being presented off of this because of the environments that they come from. G Herbo on verse 2 follows suit. I like how he changes up the voice, changes up the flow. He kind of slows down a little bit, which is interesting. But it's more of a kind of reflecting verse, I find. He starts off, I remember I ain't have no money standing on the block. Yeah, I remember why homies wasn't really trying to make no money. I was chasing homicides. So again, like, it sounds like he's looking at it more of at a perspective of trying to understand why he was doing these things, trying to understand, trying to show and educate people, like, these are why we did these things, and it's not that we wanted to. It wasn't like a choice. So that was cool. From the mob homies died, for the mob homies died, homies yours can't come outside. I ain't really thinking like that no more. I listen now, it's a million or more in my vision now. So you can see that he's trying to change and he's trying to be more mature and he's trying to act more as an adult because he's growing up and he's learned certain things, which is really, really cool. Kind of brags about having a house in Bel Airs, but it's to solidify that he's reached a new level in his life, which I do appreciate. His struggle and his grind and his dedication to get where he is today. And I like how he says at the end, speaking of business, please do not be no witness. No, we do not leave no witness. How the fuck is it hard to find a homie like me? I'm not hiding. And it's like he kind of still reinforces, like, yeah, we are smart. We got tactics. We're not going to leave any traces, but I'm also not hiding. I'm also in plain sight, not afraid to be taken at or to be run up on, because that's how much of a gangster he is. And I thought that was really, really cool. He really does display this, like, type of bravery, this bravado that he carries around with him, and a lot of pride as well. And I do appreciate that from G Herbo. I really, really like this song. I thought it was really good. It does really follow suit and connects the album so far. So I gave this song a 4.2 on 5. The next song is Gangstas Cry featuring BJ the Chicago Kid. So this track is actually really interesting. I want to start off with the title, Gangstas Cry. And right away when I saw that title, I was like, what are we going to get on this? Is this going to be like a kind of like a praise to gangsters, like they're crying out for them or whatnot? And what I got was not exactly what I expected, but I did enjoy the message and the sincerity and the honesty behind G Herbo on how he took this message across. So essentially this track is really just representing that G Herbo believes it's completely fine for gangsters to be broken down, emotional, and cry and to kind of get out their emotions and deal with what they have to deal with, because, like, honestly, this idea of being a gangster and being hard and stuff, and then knowing what the gangster life is about and seeing what you have to go through, it's kind of very interesting. It's kind of like really silly to me to think that they don't cry, that they don't have emotions, that they're not also human. Like, at one point they were kids, they were young, they did feel pain, they did do things, and it's like, I think that's what G Herbo's really bringing to light here. Now we start off with we start off with a little intro from BJ, the Chicago kid. It was really cool. It's not much. It's just like no, 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 no. Put my all in it. Yeah. Okay, whatever. We're kind of getting like, we got to make sure we stay dedicated. So that's cool. And then G Herbo kind of comes in and just with the chorus and he goes, have you ever seen a gangster cry? It ain't nothing wrong with seeing gangsters cry. It ain't nothing wrong with seeing gangsters cry. And he kind of just repeats that. And it's a very simple chorus, but I think it does a great job of driving home this message of we need to change the way we think about gangsters. We need to change the way we think about people and like kind of have this more open talk about being emotional. And it's really cool to see how like this gangster G Herbo, right? Everything he's been saying so far, and now being just really super honest and open with how he feels with certain things, which was really, really cool. I really thought that was an interesting topic. Kind of repeats it a couple times, and then we get into the verse. And right off the bat, again, what I like about G Herbo is that he doesn't hold back. On certain songs, he does kind of like ease into certain things, but on certain tracks, he really just gives you these hard-hitting things. So I start off with verse 1, and he goes, I stayed up the longest when my homie died. I poured up some more so I can stop from crying. Relapsed after quitting like my second time, but I know I just want to numb the pain, and that's inside. I know I just want to clear the rage in my mind. My younger days, will I still feel the same all the time? And right off the bat, you're already getting this, like you feel sad. I felt sad for him. You can hear him kind of tearing up. You can hear him crying. You can hear the restraint of the pain in his voice, expressing his loss of his friend, and expressing how he kind of cope with it and how he kind of deals with it, which it's normal. I felt for him because I was like, this is normal, but it seems like he's expressing it like it's not normal, like this is not okay. And it's the idea of that he's trying to show that these are what people go through, and these are what maybe gangsters go through, losing a loved one, dealing with drugs, dealing with killing, dealing with the environment. They use drugs, sex, and alcohol to cope and escape from all of these pains and troubles. So it's really interesting that this is what we're getting so far. I like how he goes, growing, Granny used to yell my name all the time, like the same as if I'm on stage yelling lines. And that's interesting how it's like he's kind of connecting it where he maybe used to got yelled at and get in trouble, but that also kind of led him to want to have that happening when he's on stage and he's rapping and he's performing. But there could also be this connection where it's like kind of triggering him that he's getting in trouble and he's not doing good enough. And this could also be linked to like, again, it affects him and he wants to cry, but he feels like he can't cry. And it's really just deep, and it really feels like it has this interesting connection on how like he's trying to present it. Like it's this interesting connection that I feel is just, why can't gangsters cry? Why are we taught that we have to be like this? And I'm not saying that I'm a gangster, but like just maybe men in general have to be tough, have to be strong, and then add on this idea of being a gangster where you have to go through these difficult times and violence and all this stuff. And it's just it's like, at one point, when do you really deal with the psychology of things? When do you really deal with the emotions? And I really did like that. I like when he goes, honestly, I never thought I'd take shit where I'm taking it. I was way too busy on some fuck shit. I was chasing it. Now I'm driving the shit real fast like I'm racing it. Guess I'm trying to duck my past. Had enough of facing it. Which is really cool because it's like he's being open and honest about him not being able to front his fears or front his past, which at a certain point I came to realize like you have to kind of confront your past and deal with certain things. And just that pure honesty from him and the way he expresses it in the first verse is really, 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 really cool. It's really touching. It gives off this nice effect, especially with the beat that we're getting. It's more somber, more down, not high energy. So it was really, it really was fit well. It really fit well together. It really meshed well together. The production on this was really, really great. It does follow suit with the tracks that we've been getting, and it's kind of like a little story. We got the intro of who G Herbo is, and then we kind of get this this kind of gangster-esque feel, kind of like what we deal with, where I'm from, how do we kind of move, and this is kind of like the life we live. And then right into like the other flip side of, but just because we live with this type of life and all these luxuries and stuff like that, we still got to deal with our emotions and our psychology and our feelings. And that was something that I really did enjoy from him. Then we go back into the chorus, which again, it's just more of that reinforcement of it's okay to see a gangster cry. It's okay to get rid of this stigma that gangsters have to be hard, and they always have to be hard. Not saying that they have to be soft, but they always have to be hard, and they can't ever show emotion or really just be human for once. Let's call that. So that was interesting. And there's something in the beat. I noticed this when I was listening to it a couple times. There's something in the beat that really just kind of keeps you captivated and following along like a story. On this song in particular, there's like a specific sound that kind of, and I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, this is one of them with the piano. But it kind of, no, that was the last track, but whatever. It has this certain sound that just follows through the song that G Herbo kind of follows it with his verse. And I thought that was really interesting and very talented, and I really appreciated how he was able to do that. So very much diversity is being shown so far from G Herbo, so I do like that. And so far, this is the third track on the album, and it's nothing that's the same. Lyrically, it could have the same, similar feels, similar content, but the context of what he's doing is completely different, and the messages he's saying are completely different, which I really did enjoy. Then we go into verse 2, which had more of a questioning feel to it. He starts off, "How I cry, whole ride, folks' funeral. That day a homie would have died if I did what I used to do. Want to stop myself, I tried. I said I will. I lied. Swear I ain't did nothing all these years, but that shit's still inside." So you can kind of see, he's still dealing with wanting to do these things and this mentality of wanting to be kind of in the streets and still kind of roughhouse and run around the roads and kind of deal with what's out there. But I like how he follows up with, "Won't advise you to live the street life lest you want to die. Can't come on no hits with us unless you want to drive." Where he's kind of like I like how he's putting up the real fact that if you want to be in the streets, you have to know that you're going to die. Like, there is a chance that this can happen. Nobody ever makes it out of the streets alive. But on top of that, there is this idea of, if you are going to run with him and his boys, you can only drive. You're not going in there. He still doesn't trust you, but he does need somebody on the team. So it shows that like loyalty to his crew, but as well also this business mentality of needing an escape or whatever. And that kind of still solidifies his gangsterness and how he moves, which I thought was really, really awesome. And then I like how he continues off and he goes, "But been losing loved ones since a baby. How they going to decide? Love the streets so much. I cry to my mom why I can't go outside. Hiding pistols in the house, putting on my side to go outside. Since I lost Cap, been full of anger, homicide stay on my mind. I accept it. If everybody's savage, how am I gonna survive?" Again, that idea that everyone else is acting a certain way, everyone else is being forced in this environment. Why does he have to be different? And that's a lot of questions, especially when you come from this atmosphere of violence, pain, and destruction. It's just, it's you can really see all like the confusion and the complexity behind what he has to deal with. And I really thought that this song really does a great job of showing that and producing that feeling of like, this is why we are so fucked up, and this is why I think that people from my society are so broken, because we deal with these type of things. Overall, I did think that this was a good song, and we're still following suit with the theme of the album. And G Herbo is really impressing me, especially as a first time listen unto a full project. I'm really impressed, and I'm really liking what I'm getting. So I gave this song a 4.2 on 5, and the next song is In This Bitch. Okay, I'll be honest. I don't have much to say about this track because it's kind of straightforward and kind of simple. But I do want to take a moment to explain like how I think it's very interesting that we're back onto this gangster flip. The reason why I say that is because the last track was really supportive and had this this idea of like letting gangsters cry and not having to be always hard and just dealing with what goes on in society. And then we get this track, which honestly, I'm gonna say it's a great vibe. It really hypes you up. It really gets you in like this party mood. But I think that's what it does. It's just kind of straightforward. It's not that long of a track. Overall, it is about 3 minutes and 7 seconds. It's one verse. And you know what? I'll give him his credit. G Herbo goes off on this track. But like, it just seems very superficial to me. There's not really that much meat. It's a lot of just flaunting guns and just a lot of the luxuries and just being on top and really just solidifying that mentality of like we king shit. If you want to go through verses, we got real guns in this bitch, real thugs in here, we off real drugs in this bitch, my little pocket rocket, it fit like a glove in this bitch, and we real deep in here, it's real snug in this bitch. Like, he kind of just really rhymes every line with bitch, which I don't have a problem with. I get the concept and I get what he's saying, but I don't have much to it. There isn't much meat to this. Real bloods in this bitch, my big cousin in this bitch, big rock in this bitch, it's no VS1s in this bitch, I got water everywhere, homie, it's a flood in this bitch, what's good with it, bitch, my whole hood in this bitch. I'm probably getting demonetized for saying that word like fucking 50 times and whatever, but it is what it is, and I understand that, this song is very good for probably clubs, bangers. It is a banger, but I don't like it's just, and again, it's just super superficial to me. That's really all it is. I liked it. I listened to the song a bunch of times, listened to the album a bunch of times. It's a really good album. It's a really great track, but this song just doesn't really do it for me myself. I like the placement on it because it's early in the album, so it just kind of gets it out of the way, so I wasn't too aggravated on that. As well, I also like how it follows up right after this like super soft, emotional, supportive track, kind of instilling that like this is how gangsters move. We can be emotional, but at the same time, on a flip of a dime, boom, we can be back to being hard. We're back to being king shit. We're back to being boss mentality, which is really presented on this track. It's really kind of just, I feel G Herbo's having fun. He's really just releasing a lot of energy. But yeah, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I don't have much to say. It's a little bit less serious than a lot of, and again, it's a little bit less serious than a lot of the bars we've been getting. A lot of them have been somewhat kind of like stories, kind of like experiences, and a little bit educational. This is really just something to kind of refresh you and get you back into that mood of like, this is why we listen to G Herbo. If that's the case, again, I don't know. Like I said in the beginning, I've never actually reviewed a G Herbo project, but I enjoyed this. It does what it does, and it's a good song. It was produced well. It had more of this like trappier feel to it, this more cockier vibe to it. So it's good. I left it with the 4 on 5, and that's that. The next track is Death. So this song was a really cool transition, I found, to try to transition back to more of the explanatory side of what G Herbo is doing. Again, like I said, the last track felt more of like just a refresher, just getting you back hype into the album. I think this album is still great. I think does a really great job at showing you the different sides of the streets, the different sides of G Herbo, and experiencing different scenarios that could really happen. This song is really interesting because he's using the word death row to explain being like in tough times, difficult situations, and having to deal with certain trials and tribulations. But I also like how he, in the chorus, uses death row to acknowledge that he wasn't chilling with like Snoop Dogg or Suge Knight, but he was active like Pac, and he's kind of shouting out these legendary artists and these people who have been in the hip hop history, which is really, really cool. Still kind of really showing that like he's paid attention and he's taken time to really go back into music and follow along and see who paved the way before him. So I really did enjoy that. I like his little boppiness to the chorus. It's kind of got this little head bop to it, and he really flows differently, giving us different types of verses. So I like the diversity. He's very talented, and I do appreciate that from G Herbo. So that was really, really cool. This is track 5, and we're still getting different messages, different flows, and different vibes, which I do enjoy. But overall, this song kind of really is like the definition for G Herbo. I feel like it's a definition of being just determined and being on schedule to make the money and having to stay focused. Verse 1, he comes in and he starts off with Herbo really quiet. I can't lie about my cheddar though. Really was outside on the 9 with Berettas. Oh, no bap. I ain't lying. I got 5 on my schedule. So we're still getting that same context, kind of explaining, what he's kind of doing, giving us this atmosphere, setting up the whole scenario of the song. But then he follows through later, kind of talking about a girl. So if I text outside, come outside. How I tell her I ain't regular. I know she was a vibe when I met her. I rock $1,000 sweaters. Bitches love me like Coachella. Tell her give me some. I respect you. Don't address me like I'm anyone. So he's kind of breaking down how he's dealing with a woman at this current moment. But she seems to be somebody that he doesn't really like. He respects and he knows that she's a vibe, but he doesn't really kind of trust her in that way, because when he follows up he goes, oh, she a dime in her city, she like lemon lime with her henny, you ain't choosing homies, you get dimes from any, round the way girl I can line up with 20, so he's kind of saying that like he feels like this woman is using him, and she's kind of just running around with the crew and she doesn't really care about the people, she's really just cared about the money and the jewelries and the lavish life, which kind of to me solidifies like he's kind of addressing that there's not just dudes but some women that may be acting like this around him because he's got money, and it's interesting how he's kind of breaking it down in terms of just like fake people. It really just comes down to this ideology of fake people, and you can't really trust anybody. Still kind of showing this paranoia, this fear, PTSD being caused by people who are using him and abusing him for what he can bring or his luxuries or whatnot, which still kind of goes along with the context of the album and the theme. So I did appreciate that, but I really enjoy just again kind of how he uses the death row to kind of symbolize the type of life that we think lies behind death row when we hear it, the rappers, the names, the music, and all this type of money. But he's also saying like, I wasn't like them, I'm not that big, I'm not up there, I had to go through some other stuff. So that kind of follows through with the chorus after verse 1, which I did appreciate, and then in verse 2 I'm really liking how he seems to be having these reflective thoughts. He starts off verse 2, all that dumb shit I did really wasn't worth it though. Don't define me by my past, ain't nobody perfect though. I wasn't thinking about the consequence, it wasn't working though. I jumped head first in the trap, but I had that bitch twerking though. So he's really dropping some wisdom, and he's showing you that he's made mistakes, he's made errors, and he doesn't want other people to have to go through this. But he's also being honest where like, you got to live your own life, you got to do what you got to do. But he's also very questionable, which shows this level of consciousness that he wants to get better. And that's what I kind of see here. I kind of see that he wants to get better, he wants to do better, and he's using music to get to that next level of being better. I like when he goes, he's just getting money, what you think murk him for, seeing homies faking that shit irking though, but I'ma pull up on him when it's perfect though, I can tell you what I'm worth or you can search it though. And I like how he's kind of giving people options, and he's kind of saying like, you know, I'm out here, I'm really doing what's got to be done, I'm really putting into the streets, and if you need to check me out, you can Google me, you can figure out who I am. If you don't know me, I'll tell you who I am, and I'm just honest like that. And I like that type of confrontation he's really bringing to the game, where he's like challenging everybody to really question him and question his gangsterism, and really proving to everybody like, this is where I come from, and this is like my real life. And I really did appreciate that. This song does a really good job of showing you a little bit of what he's gone through, a little bit about his personal story. This one was a little bit more personal to G Herbo, I find, and it was still educative, which I do appreciate a lot, because you're getting not a lot of there's a lot of rappers out here who like kind of express their gangsterism and promote it in a way that is more just like, this is the life we got to live, but this is more of a darker side to it, a more real side to it, an honest side that I do really like getting from rappers, and G Herbo is really doing well on it. The energy on this is super perfect. It fits really well with the beat, really well with the feel of the song, and just the way he kind of goes through the verses, and he gives you this seriousness, but then he kind of gives you this poppy jump to it when he gets to the chorus, was just really, really cool. I ended up giving this song a 4.2 on 5. The next track is Party In. So this song was actually interesting. In a way that I think I missed the entire point, but I think I understood enough. Lil Durk comes in, and I really enjoy Lil Durk. I did review his last project, which was really cool. And I like how he's kind of mixing in with the auto-tune. And it's a nice auto-tune. It's not like super heavy. It's not super soft. It's a nice fitting auto-tune that really gives off this like pain-stricken feeling and kind of like just disconnection and stress. and you kind of really feel like they had to kind of make it out from where they're from. But the idea of this and they kind of flow through, and Lil Durk does a really good job on the chorus. He goes, homies in heaven having a gangster party. See this right here. This is a gangster story. Oh, gangster, gangster. And I like how they're making this idea of the people who have passed away from their environment or their local surroundings or their groups are having a gangster party up in heaven, kind of celebrating the death, kind of celebrating the loss of the loved ones that they've had, and that's really interesting. And positive. It's really positive from a lot of the darkness that we've been getting from this album, a lot of the hurt and pain that we've been getting from this album. I like this type of positive energy that we're getting. Lil Durk comes in on the first verse, and I felt like it was a little bit simple. It didn't have a lot of meat to it, but my rollie finally danced. OTF, a family plan. We ain't had no car to slide on ops. I used my family van. Lost Iris, I died. Newski died. It's like I died again. Fresh out the feds, can't talk to you. They gonna try to tap me in. So he's really kind of just explaining like he's lost some people. He's got to be careful on what he's doing. But he's also kind of showing you like these are some consequences to the certain actions that I may have done. These are certain things that have been a result of what's really going on in my life, and this is what can happen if you start to choose these paths and these walks of life. So I really did like that from him, but it was really short. It was okay. I think I preferred more like having an album from Lil Durk than this verse, to be clear. I know that's not fair to say, but I don't know, there wasn't just much for me to really be like, oh, okay, this was super cool. But then we get into the chorus again and follows suit. But what I did enjoy was verse 2, how G Herbo again really is giving you stories and like explaining kind of in detail on what is happening. So he goes in, he was like, I was on a mission with my mans, gunpowdered up now, I'm pissing on my hands. We just picking up on what them older homies and them was saying. 16 we got fanned down, caught us with our pants down. I was on the block last, Glock 9 rock glass, stop signs, hot cars filled with gas, black masks. Like he's really painting this picture of like the area, the hood, the projects, the environments, the ghettos, and it really kind of showing you the life of what really happens. And a lot of this does end up in tragedy. A lot of this does end up in pain and hurt and like people dying. And the point of this, I think, is to really just show that all these people who have lost and all the people who've passed away are now in heaven having a better time. And I think this is what they're trying to really do and what they're trying to get at with this song, which I do enjoy from that. I like when he goes, crack baby pops left when it got bad. No, he goes, fail how you think you're going to excel with your black ass. Crack baby pops left when it got bad. So he's also explaining like, you know, fathers not being around, not having that father figure around is really going to tamper with the psychology of the kids, and really, you know, you have to learn how to excel by yourself, and you have to learn how to be a man by yourself. So all of these things kind of tie together into why G Herbo may have had to do the certain things and learn certain things from different paths that he went through, which are really, really rock solid. Honestly, the way he presents this song is really, really dope. And it just kind of follows through with the similar type of stuff we've been getting. Then we get back into the chorus, and then in verse 3, it's more of the solidification of where he's been, right? So G Herbo starts off, and it's a half verse from G Herbo and Lil Durk. So G Herbo goes, I was raised around gangsters, fell in love with the danger, deep up in the streets, might have to fall in love with strangers. House parties 30 deep, we came strapped, all bangers, it's more than 5 shooters, so we clapped all angles. So again, it's more of just this storytelling of like what he's experienced and what he decided to do, and like voluntarily join the streets and make these choices. And it's like you can really kind of feel in his voice and part of the explanation, you can feel like he was kind of brainwashed. And I say brainwashed in terms of like the thrill of it. He got in more not brainwashed, but more enthralled in wanting to be part of the streets, enthralled in wanting to live this life and do these type of things. So and he really does show like the consequences of, you know, walking into a party and having to shoot a bunch of people and kind of going out with a shootout. So I really did enjoy what Lil Durk and G Herbo were doing in this track. I really think it's a really good track for everybody to check out and kind of get an idea of what these guys are kind of going through. So I thought that was really, really cool. Don't really have much else to say about it. It's kind of a straightforward track, really. I like how G Herbo really kind of gets to the point. I do like a lot of the layered bars, a lot of the super in-depth, gotta triple entendres, double entendres, gotta look through it. But I also like music sometimes where, you know, it's just straight to the point and just gets to the story and gets to the message right away. So I gave this song a 4.2. The next track, which will be the last track of part 1, is PTSD featuring Chance the Rapper, Juice WRLD, and Lil Uzi Vert. I'm just going to start off by saying this song is a banger. I love the features. I love Chance the Rapper. I love Juice WRLD. I love Lil Uzi Vert. They all bring a really spectacular edge to this song. G Herbo does a really great job at playing the role. This song really defines what PTSD is. I feel like for the message of this album, this is the title track of the album. This is halfway through, which I think is a really great placement. First of all, for the song, you've gotten enough information to kind of understand what they're dealing with and kind of like the environment and get a picture of what's really going on. You're just talking to other artists now about it, which is really interesting, and I really liked how they chose to do that. The song starts off with Juice WRLD doing the chorus, which rest in peace Juice WRLD. Honestly, I really should have checked in on him a little bit earlier in terms of just listening to his music, because I slept on him too long, and he's really, really talented. I like how he starts off right away. I turn the news on when I smell death in the air. I prove you wrong. I made it out of here. I don't belong. I see my past everywhere. I don't stand too close to me. Eternal PTSD. I got a war zone inside of my head. I made it on my own. They said I'd be in jail or dead. I've seen my brothers fall all over and over again. Don't stand too close to me. I got PTSD. Already, like, just in that chorus, you already are going to understand that they're going to talk about, you know, just experiences, life, people leaving, the idea that they're proving people wrong, because this mentality that in the ghetto you're not going to live past 25. Kanye West spoke about it on one of the albums. It's been like a conversation that's been going on that I've noticed in hip-hop for a long time. Just that idea and having to prove people wrong that they made it out and got to a higher level is just insane. And then G Herbo comes in right away with that hard gangster feel, and this whole verse really just kind of embodies this idea of like being in the streets, being in the hood, and really like just doing what you got to do to get it right. So I was hearing bangs like Chief Keef, shout out to Chief Keef, always yelling names that's deceased. I got off my mind and I go off my mind and my instincts, shooting at the same time. We was in sync on the same thing, trying to repeat. We was in the whips, we was in them rips, right back on the enemies. See, you're already getting this like high energy. He's screaming, he's coming in heavy, he's really giving you that like, we gangsters, we really in this shit. But it's also to really show that like, you know, this is why they're dealing with PTSD, and I think G Herbo really does play that role on this track. I think there's roles because, and you'll see when I get through it, just kind of like how all of these incidences, fuck it, out the sunroof, Brody got a quick release, and we in the car real fast from police, shots fired back, but his ass in the streets. When I bought a 40, showed Brittany and Tiffany, knowing if they call, it ain't shit they can get from me. Lot of warfare, 17, and had a 50 piece. Like, you're getting all of this information, all of this content right at once, and you're just kind of blown away by like just the rapid energy that he's bringing to it, and he's just kind of aggressive, and he's really just acting out, and it was really, 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 really cool. I really enjoyed how G Herbo presented this, and I like how he ends it off and he goes, how the fuck am I supposed to have fun? All my homies are dead. All my homies dead. Really kind of showing like, the more and more they're in these atmospheres, the more and more they're in these environments, the more and more people they're gonna end up losing, which is absolutely terrible, absolutely horrid, and I don't approve of it. But I really do like what he brings to the table. Then Juice WRLD comes back in, and you know, just again, after hearing all this death and violence from G Herbo's verse, it really connects nicely with, I turn the news on when I smell death in the air. I prove you wrong. I made it out of here. As in, like, these artists are the guys who've made it out of the struggle, who've really put in the work and committed and dedicated to getting to that next level, which is really, really cool. But it also connects with the last verse, which I really thought was interesting as well. And then Don't Stand Too Close to Me, I Got PTSD. Coming off of that, Chance the Rapper comes in, and I really appreciate Chance the Rapper because he doesn't really go on to this gangster tip. He really uses more the environment around him. So used to run home from the train stop, running so fast, dodging raindrops because he's scared. He doesn't know, right? He fears for his life. He may fear for some things that, as we found out, member got robbed at the park once. Member thinking that bitch probably ain't cocked. Member I was with my mama one time, seeing a homie through the glass hit a homie with a bank shot. Point blank, head hanging off his tank top. Walked off. We drove off. Went to GameStop. Quick, quiet ride there. Picked up San Andreas. Certain things we ain't talk about, mama, we just prayed off. Like that right there, all of that embodies the whole verse. He uses the environment to express why he may have PTSD, why he is dealing with certain demons and certain voices in his head, and he's trying to not have that affect him. But I find it interesting how he incorporated the fact that it's kind of seems so normal that like it's kind of like desensitized when they're in this environment, because he saw this happen. He saw the dude get shot, and then they drove off quietly, him and his mother. No talking about, no like concern or anything about it, which I think is a problem. You should be discussing these traumatic issues exactly when they happen to really break down the incident and understand, so that the kid can, you know, grow up and not really just deal with it on his own. But then not only that, but they go to a video game shop, GameStop, and he gets San Andreas, which is basically just the ghetto version of fucking GTA. Like, it takes place in the hood. It's a black character. It's it's all centered around like the black community. From what I understand, you know, all the other GTA games, you're like Italian, Russian, and all these other things. Like you're not really centered around that. So, except for GTA 5, I know. Don't call me out on that. I'm just making a point. The point is, San Andreas is a particular GTA game that is surrounded around that and like the hood and living in that and dealing with these type of gangs and stuff like that. So I really like how he's connecting that in a way where it's like it's so surrounded by him that even in the video games we're like taught to act like this, and these are the type of things we're learning. So I really did enjoy that, but I also like how he kind of follows up that by seeing all these type of things and being very paranoid and very scared for his life. He doesn't like people running up on him, even fans, because it will trigger his PTSD. It'll trigger something in him that he might think something bad's happening, you know. And I really like how like all of the so far the song is just connecting all together, where we got G Herbo giving this, you know, aggressive, angry, gangster ass tone to it, and then Chance the Rapper's kind of showing the outside view of like the environment around it. So that was really cool. Juice WRLD comes in, nails the chorus. I really appreciate Juice WRLD on the chorus, really doing great. A little bit with Lil Uzi Vert, which I haven't heard Uzi in a long time. I know he dropped something. I know he's put out a little video. I know that the whole industry talk is a thing that's been in the works, but like I just haven't been following up. So it was really good for me and really refreshing to hear Uzi on a track. And, you know, Uzi just does what he does. It's a war zone laying inside my head. I still think about all my homies that's dead. I'm too paranoid. Yeah, I know what I heard. I know you heard what I said. I'm too paranoid. I make sure all my ops, they bled. Draining all my energy. No, I cannot sleep. I'm affected by the streets. No appetite. I can't eat. I only see red when I see. I think it's my PTSD. And it's really short, but it gets to the point, and Uzi does it really nicely with his auto-tune and the way he strains his voice and his cadence, and he does it in a really nice way that really ties up the whole song together, which I did really enjoy. And I think this is a really great song. This is a banger. I gave this song a 4.7. I'm still bumping it, and you know what, I'm about to just cut this video because this is the end of part 1, and I'm gonna go bump the track again. But either way, this song is really good. I'm really glad that they picked this to be the title track of the album, and they really did a great job making this work. So overall, like I said, this song is a 4.7. With that, we're just going to wrap it up here for part 1. That was tracks 1 to 7. Thank you so much for staying this long with the video. We're at about an hour and 11 minutes. I'm going to cut that down because I'm editing it now and everything. So let me know what you think with that. Also, again, thank you so much to the Patreons: Ismail Gadamsi, Lindo Williams, Chris Prado, DJ Black Hurricane, Scribble, Coney Sparks, Jonathan Barnes. Thank you, and Ismail Gadamsi, thank you so much for everything you guys do for us. I will continue that on the second part at the end of the video, as well as my full grade for the album, I will be giving it that part. So don't forget to check that out. I'm going to wrap this up now. Hit me up on Twitter. Thank you for staying, and I will be back with you shortly.